Greetings, users. Welcome to Disenthrall. I am Patrick Smith. Today, I would like to talk about the ongoing situation and drama with Patreon deplatforming people, and PayPal deplatforming people, and YouTube, and Google, and. So many people are talking about this right now that I don't want to rehash what other people have already said. But I have what I feel is a unique perspective on this that I will share with you. My unique perspective comes from the fact that I created I wouldn't say it's a Facebook platform, but it was absolutely one of the first social media platforms in the world for a competitive sport that I played years ago when I was very young. This was before MySpace. I created a website that was fully interactive and pretty advanced for its time. Everyone could create an account, create a profile, with their pictures and their name and all their information, and they could, post updates about themselves, and they could host and share photo galleries, and even upload music that they had created or wanted to share, and they could form groups and have private communication and private posts inside their groups, and there was discussion boards and anyway, it was a fully fledged community with a large number of users. Large on the scale of sword fighting sports, which is tiny in comparison to Facebook, but nevertheless, the community was there. I created it from scratch by myself and experienced the other side of this conversation happening right now, where all of these companies are pushing social justice onto their users. That is to say, deplatforming, kicking off, shunning, disassociating from people that they think that they don't want to do business with, that they think are anti-social justice or are Nazis or whatever the hell. And so I want to talk on both sides of this issue, and I want to start by talking about it from my unique perspective as a platform owner, creator, runner, back in the day and now, because there's two different platforms totally. Back in the day, the platform was basically open to the public, but open to anyone that was interested in this sport. They could, create an account, start interacting with people, have a profile page, and all of the abilities that you would, see on a Facebook page today. I was young and very much an idiot at the time and didn't have a lot of forethought. I had the technical skills to build this stuff, but I didn't have the life experience to run it properly. And several times I ran into a situation where there were people using my platform to spread ideas. Now, granted, this is all in the context of the sport that I cared very deeply about. I was very involved in and had an infinite amount of opinions on. But there were people using my platform, using this thing that I created with my own fingers to spread and convince others of ideas and things that I thought or felt or knew was wrong for the sport, was wrong for the community. And there were times when I censored people on this platform. And every time I did, there was a mass outcry and a mass exodus, and the platform suffered. And I didn't see it at the time, how bad that was. How counterproductive that was to the platform. My platform was supposed to be there to allow people to interact with one another in the way that they wanted, not in the way that I wanted. And if I had wanted that platform to be something other than that, it probably would never have taken off or gotten off the ground to begin with. People want to be left alone to interact with people on their terms, not on the terms of somebody else, not on the terms of service or community standards of some other platform. So that was a platform meant for the general public, meant for other people to contribute content to in their own way. I found that the more I left the people alone, the better the platform did. And in my ignorance, when I meddled and when I tried to control people, the worse the platform did. Now, the next part I would like to talk about, the next platform I would like to talk about, is the Disenthrall platform, the one you're watching right now. We have multiple contributors. Myself, Kaysen, we've had Yos, we've had Victor Pross, who has produced and uploaded several episodes of his podcast here. This platform is controlled. This platform has a specific message to bring to the world. I will not allow anyone to contribute anything to your eyeballs and to your ears on this platform that violates non-aggression principle, that violates libertarian principle, libertarian ideals. That's not what this place is for. When you come here, you are not a contributor, you are a consumer. And so the message that this platform gives you is one that is curated and specifically designed to be what it is. When I invite a contributor to add their words and thoughts and video to this platform, it is with that understanding that all content they contribute must be non-aggression principle compliant and not advocate violating anyone's consent. Now, to speak to the other side on both of these platforms, did I have the right to censor and control and ban users from either platform, from Disenthrall as viewers or as content contributors, and from the sword fighting community Facebook platform? Did I have the ability to ban and censor and mute and eject and disassociate myself from whoever I wanted? In both cases, absolutely 100%, without question, it belongs to me. It is my property. The servers that it runs on is paid for by me. The video content that gets uploaded to all the various accounts, those accounts belong to me. Those are my accounts. I control them. I should have control of them. I must have control over my property. With the Facebook-like social media platform, it was extremely unwise to exert that kind of control over that property, because that's not what the property was meant for. That's not what people wanted to use that property for. But I had the right to. And the unique perspective I have on this that I'm trying to share with you is the feeling I experienced when someone used my property for an end that I vehemently disagreed with. And so that's what we're seeing with all these platforms, with Patreon and YouTube and all these SJW tech companies. They are seeing their property, the stuff that they've worked and, blood, sweat, and tears, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into. They're seeing it used for a purpose that runs directly opposite to what they want to see in the world. And they have chosen to say, no, sorry, you can't use my stuff like that. You can do it elsewhere. I don't have control over the entire rest of the world, but here on Patreon, here on YouTube, here on Facebook, here on blah, blah, blah. This is mine, and I don't want you using it like that. And as libertarians, as voluntarists, we have to respect that. We have to. It's dumb, it's stupid, it's retarded. It's a really bad business plan. It's a really bad strategy. It's not good. It's going to, and it is hurting these companies, and will continue to hurt them, and will hurt them more and more and more to the degree that they continue to try and control people, just as it did my platform that I built years and years ago. Okay, so I think we've defined the libertarian, the voluntarist principle from both sides on this issue. It's both an absolute property right and absolutely stupid for them to do. Now let's talk about solutions, or what needs to happen. The market needs to create competition. But that's easy to say, and it's really hard to do, because there's an absolute technocracy in place right now. It's a 20-layer cake of companies that are all subjected to and also subscribe to SJW activism and control. And I'm not sure that everybody realizes just how many layers there are to that cake. So first of all, you have Patreon. Let's say that they're the top layer of the cake, and they make some decisions to censor some people that they don't like. Well, let's say that there's somebody that they're like, I don't really like it, but we're gonna let him continue on our platform for now. Well, guess what? PayPal is a big payment processor for Patreon. PayPal says, oh, well, if you're going to use PayPal to process payments on Patreon, and you're not going to ban this person that we don't like, we're going to stop doing business with you, Patreon. Boom. There's your layer 2. Now you have another layer of SJW oversight and censorship. Again, absolute property right. It's PayPal's service. It's PayPal servers. It's PayPal's sovereign right to control how their stuff is used. You cannot question that. You can also say it's really dumb and stupid and shitty. Now, let's say PayPal's okay with something. Let's say Patreon's, you squeaked by Patreon, you squeaked by PayPal, but let's say Visa disagrees with you. The payment processor, the clearing network, Visa or MasterCard or both disagree with you. And they call up PayPal and they're like, why haven't you banned this guy yet? And PayPal's like, oh, it's a Patreon. We'll ask Patreon. Patreon's like, it doesn't break our terms of service. It doesn't break our guidelines. And PayPal's like, it doesn't really break our guidelines. Well, Visa's like, I don't like them. And we've decided that if you don't censor these people, that you can no longer accept Visa or MasterCards. Well, what's PayPal going to do? They're held hostage to the payment processors. And Patreon's held hostage to PayPal. So you can't just say, okay, well, let's make a new social network. Okay, let's make a Patreon alternative. Let's make a new Facebook. Let's make a new YouTube. Making a new YouTube is a huge, huge project. YouTube hasn't broken even. They haven't hit the black year to year until very recently. Until then, they were losing money every single year. And now I think they're just breaking even. They're not even really profitable. It's a really expensive business to be in. There's so much infrastructure and hardware and equipment and storage space to take the uploads that they have to do. And everyone's been trained by these people to have the expectation that they don't need to pay for any of this. We don't really need to pay for YouTube. We just watch a couple dumb ads occasionally. And that rolls out into other problems where content creators that don't meet the criteria to get advertising dollars can't make money from anybody. We have to beg Patreon or a Patreon-like service. So it's almost like you need the entire stack for any of this to work. You need like your own credit card processor. You need your own money exchange platform that you can then build on top of, an easy payment processor that you can then build on top of a patronage platform that you can then have backing people uploading content to a content sharing or social media platform. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's absolutely possible. The market is probably we're probably on the cusp of some major market innovation that's going to just wipe the slate clean of all these idiotic companies that are trying to control our communication with people that want to hear us. But in the interim, if you want to support people, you're going to have to just bite the bullet and take extra steps to do so. They can't control cryptocurrency. It is a pain in the ass to use. Its value is up and down and all over the place. And so buying some cryptocurrency just to immediately send it to somebody that you want to support so that you can't be censored in that way as a viewer, as a consumer, is a pain in the ass. But that's what we just have to do. That's what I'm having to do with the people that I'm trying to support. Cryptocurrency is the way to directly help people, to directly support people. It's a pain in the ass because there's not an easy way for me to build a list of people that I can then unlock Patreon levels of support, and I can, make cool content available to people. There's no platform for that yet. So it's got to be a manual thing for right now. There's a couple platforms for me uploading my content to that seem so far to be relatively censorship free. Bit.tube is a really cool one. BitChute is another really cool one so far. I'm really not excited, or I'm kind of down on DTube and Steemit. I think that platform is kind of on its way out and not wonderfully functional or easy to use or whatever. But anyway, so there are some alternatives. I am doing my part. It's a huge pain in the butt to upload. Every time I make a video like this, I spend an hour just going through a long list of 12 different platforms that I upload to. I do that for you guys and for me, so that when the day comes, and it's coming, when the day comes when YouTube just nukes my channel from orbit like they just did to somebody else, I'll get to that in a minute. I still have copies of all of my video, and I've been uploading to other platforms for a while. So there's already places for people to go. Make sure that you take the time and you do your part to subscribe to the people that you want to see on all these other platforms, because that sends market signals back my way on which platform I need to be focusing more on. Because trust me, I can't keep up uploading to every site that, hosts videos for much longer. Social media is the same way. There's alternatives coming up. no one can be sure on any of these platforms yet because it's still all too new. Subscribestar is a Patreon alternative. PayPal just basically effed them over. So I think we still have a couple more weeks to wait and see how that turns out. Jordan Peterson claims that he's working on a Patreon alternative or competitor. That's going to be pretty cool if it happens. I have to think that there's going to be some free speech involved there, but you never know. Maybe Jordan Peterson, I don't think it'll be the case, but maybe there's a line somewhere where you're going to cross a line and Jordan Peterson's going to be, going to say, well, now we got to clean our room. And that's something that we don't want to have on this platform. You just don't know. We got to give the market time to act. And in the meantime, the content producers have to do their job to supply content to you on platforms that still allow it. And then you guys and me, because I consume a vast quantity of content myself, as content consumers, we have to go through that extra pain in the ass step of supporting the people through alternative measures like, Bitcoin or Monero or cryptocurrency, or direct PayPal is kind of an iffy thing that, the fees suck or whatever. The landscape sucks right now. We have to get out from under this technocracy. We have to tell this California-based Silicon Valley that they're done. We're done with them. We want to talk to each other, and they're not involved. They don't need to be part of this conversation. They're on their way out. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, just like every historical civil rights movement, every activist movement that has achieved victory, for some reason, it just doesn't stop. Feminists achieved equality already. And they're not going to stop, probably for 100 years, if ever. Same for other civil rights movements. They achieve parity, at least as much parity as you can, dealing with the dumb laws of government. And then they keep pressing, and they keep saying things are still racist, or still sexist, or still whatever. And they just never stop, because there's power in being that advocate group. And they don't want to give up the power, so they can't stop. They always have to make up a new reason to continue existing, and a new reason for people to continue supporting them. I think the same thing is going to be seen with these SJW technocracy companies. And I think there's evidence of that just happened recently. They've kicked off, the major racists, right? They've deplatformed Alex Jones. I'm not saying he's a racist. I'm just saying they've deplatformed a lot of the, most edge cases. Do you think they're going to stop? Do you think they're going to leave it there? Or are they going to start to, start edging in and continuing to eat away around the edges until they get closer and closer to only their ideas being acceptable in these platforms? We have a comedian. I think they call him like a dark comedian. He makes jokes about really dark subjects, really uncomfortable topics. They just nuked his channel from orbit. He's a comedian. He tells dark jokes. Gone. They're not going to stop. They're not going to nuke Sargon's channel and the Dark Comedian's channel and Alex Jones's channel, and then we're done here. We cleaned this place up and we're going to, go home. There's no chance. That's not how these people work. That's not how they think. Because the moment they stop identifying opposition is the moment that they can cease to exist as activists, because they fixed it all. They can't allow that to happen. It's not going to stop. So the sooner we find market solutions and market alternatives for these SJW companies, the better. So I hope that perspective was unique and something you haven't heard before, with everyone talking about these issues going on right now with Sargon. Thanks for watching.
In the arms of the audience, we fell on our knees to pray. Please donate to make this song go away.